You're remiss not to ask you about an issue that everyone on the internet is buzzing about today, the Republican filibuster of Senator Hagel for your Secretary of Defense nomination. Are you worried that this nomination is not going to go through?
Well, here's what we know. That Chuck Hagel, who, by the way, was a member of the Republican caucus, a colleague of all of these folks, who the Republican leader, Mitch McConnell, and others consistently praised when he was still in the Senate, who has two Purple Stars, two Purple Hearts, was an extraordinary soldier, was the head of the USO, served on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and is praised by people like Brent Scowcroft, who was George H.W. Bush's national security advisor, and Colin Powell and others, is eminently qualified to be Secretary of Defense. And the notion that we would see an unprecedented filibuster, just about unprecedented. We've never had a Secretary of Defense filibustered before. There's nothing in the Constitution that says that somebody should get 60 votes. There are only a handful of instances in which there's been any kind of filibuster of anybody for a cabinet position in our history. And what seems to be happening, and this has been growing over time, is the Republican minority in the Senate seem to think that the rule now is that you have to have 60 votes for everything. Well, that's not the rule. The rule is that you're supposed to have a majority of the 100 senators vote on most bills. The filibuster historically has been used selectively for a handful of issues to extend debate. But we don't have a 60-vote rule, and yet that's become common practice. And this is just the latest example. We've seen it on judges. We've seen it on deputy Treasury secretaries. And part of what's happening is it's becoming more and more difficult for people to join our government. So my expectation and hope is that Chuck Hagel, who richly deserves to get a vote on the floor of the Senate, will be confirmed as our defense secretary. It's just unfortunate that this kind of politics intrudes at a time when I'm still presiding over a war in Afghanistan, and I need a Secretary of Defense who is coordinating with our allies to make sure that our troops are getting the kind of strategy and mission that they deserve.